Welcome to the Business Leadership Series, where we engage with leaders who are making an impact on their worlds and who want to share their knowledge and experience for your personal and professional growth. The following interview is designed to inspire you to become the best leader you can be. Your host, Derek Champagne, is the founder and CEO of The Artist Evolution, a full-service agency building successful brands, marketing tools, and campaigns, and also the author of the best-selling book, Don't Buy a Duck. And now, let's begin today's Leadership Series interview.
Welcome to the Business Leadership Series, where our goal is to inspire you to become the best leader that you can be. We are here at the end of 2017, ushering in 2018 this week, and I want to use this episode to talk about some reflections of things that I've learned from this year, from podcasting and in business and in life, and then really to thank you, our listeners. We could not do this show without you, and I am overwhelmed by the support and the growth that we've seen on this show. I started this podcast a year and a half ago, and it was on a quest to be a better leader and to be an intentional leader. I've shared this often and publicly, but I really realized a few years ago that not only was I a leader, but I was an unintentional leader and had a team to grow. I've always been an entrepreneur and I like building things, but I hadn't invested the time and the energy and the education in being the best leader that I could be. That's one of the reasons that I do this show. It's selfish for me because I get to press record and I get to learn from some world leaders who are making an impact on their worlds. So I do this show for you and for me. And we've got a big year planned for 2018. I think we're booked out already through April or May with the guests that we have coming on, and we have guests requesting to be on the show. And we had the opportunity in 2017 to interview Rock and Roll Hall of Famers, New York Times best-selling authors, billionaires, NBA sports team owners, and other world-class leaders. Being a part of a podcast like this has been life-changing for me. Number one, to learn from our guests. Number two, to be able to meet listeners and learn from you guys and hear what's important to you and to hear how the guests are making an impact on your life just like they are on mine. And number three has been the new relationships and even partnerships that I've formed with the guests on this show and through others that I've met along the way doing this. If you've ever considered doing a podcast, if you have something you want to share, if there's people you want to learn from, I strongly recommend it. It's one of the most powerful networking and learning tools that I've ever experienced, and I am going to keep pushing this through as long as we have guests and listeners that we can provide this service for. And I want to ask the hard questions, the questions that make us all become better leaders, and to really soak up from the journeys and the experience that our guests have. Again, thank you to all of you listeners, and I hope that you'll stay with us in 2018. I'm wishing you a prosperous and healthy and productive and significant year in 2018 and beyond. 2018 is promising to be a big year. I'm really excited about this year. I have a big focus on family, friends, and my health, and growth in new markets for our agency. I get the opportunity to speak at several conferences and on several podcasts this next year, and I'm excited about the amazing guest lineup that we have for this podcast. I want to reflect on some of the highlights from 2017 that I've learned from the guests on this show and then from just being in a real self-improvement and learning mode for the past couple of years. One of the big things that happened for me is finding balance. You'll often hear me ask guests about how they find balance in their life, and it's been something I've really been focusing on. I've talked about it for years, but this was my year of really finally having it click where I had a better balance in my personal and professional life. I was able to keep my motivation for business and for growth with our agency and actually have record growth this year, but I also was able to really take more family trips, more quality time. And the biggest thing was learning to be present when I'm with my kids and with my wife. My wife is my best friend, and we've become even better friends as a result of this year and as of our focus on each other and the time that we have together. This Business Leadership Series podcast has also been life-changing for me. It's helped me to really intensify my focus as an intentional leader, and it's helped me to look more closely at my own agency. We celebrated 10 years as an agency this year, which is the longest business I've had of several companies that I've owned since I was 20. And We were really able to focus on a new level of customer service and focus on our team, shaping our culture, making a coveted culture that attracts and retains great talent, and to really solidify our unique selling proposition and what really makes us stand out and what we do well in contrast to our competition. Reflecting back on 2017, another big change that happened was implementing the 12-week year. I recommend that book, The 12-Week Year. Our team adapted this a year ago, and we've been focusing on this as a scalable template, which has helped us to increase our sales significantly. And I've used it in my personal life as well to achieve some goals as far as more time with my family and exercise and health. I plan to continue the 12-week year. I've actually built it into how I live my personal and my professional life in accomplishing objectives and making sure that I have the right focus. Another lesson for me in 2017 was practicing gratitude on a whole different level. Seth Buckley was our guest. He wrote Ambition and Leading with Gratitude, and that made a big difference in my life. That's a great book I recommend. We read it in our mastermind group as well, and I try to practice the thought of gratitude on a daily basis now as part of my morning ritual, and anytime that I'm needing to feel more appreciative, I practice gratitude because life really is so good. I learned more about self-reflection and looking at my ego and for doing things for the right reason. A great book we read this year was Ego is the Enemy, and really just you don't know what you don't know, and to learn to be humble and to approach things with humility, and that really is a strength. Another focus for me in 2017 was a realization for me that I want to be a legacy entrepreneur. I've had the opportunity to talk about this as a guest on some other podcasts, and this simply means that when I've built a business or when I've built a project, that I'm enthusiastically ready to hand it on to the next generation or to the next group that can do it better than I can. So I want to enthusiastically build and create. That's what I was born to do. I want to put my fingerprint on things that I'm building, but then I also want to be ready to pass it on. So when I look back on the businesses and the projects and the nonprofits or anything that I've been a part of, that's part of my legacy, and it continues to grow even when I'm not a part of it anymore. And that's a lesson that I had to learn the hard way, is being enthusiastic when I move on to the next thing, that the thing that I left behind continues to do well. I had also some lessons with health this year. I had a health scare where I was in an ambulance and had an overnight hospital visit, and everything turned out to be okay. But I was asked, what did I learn from that? Well, it was just a reminder for me that you want to make sure you have a succession plan in place. And we do, but I wanted to make sure that it was updated. So with our business and with everything else in life, knowing how we can be a good steward and pass it on when we're not here anymore. And also to have your house in order, to make sure that you don't have skeletons in your closet, to make sure that you are doing things the right way so that you do not have any regrets when you do die. And then to live like you might die tomorrow, and so that you focus on the important things. We're all going to die eventually, and so let's live each day like it could be our last, and to make sure that we are focusing on the things that are most important in our lives. I really also learned about the importance of relationships and to really focus on those. Relationships are so valuable, and the older I get, the more I realize how important it is for me to have great relationships with my friends and with my family, and to really invest in that network of people that are closest to me in my life. I learned about letting go of bitterness. I had some bitterness in my life that was holding me back. One from childhood, and then one from a former business deal that just didn't go in my favor. And so a big part of my 2017 was to look at those relationships, and I realized it was only hurting me, not the other person. So I learned to let go. And that's going to be a big part of my next year, is to make sure that I'm watching for anything in my life or any bitterness. I want to manage my expectations of others and not have any bitterness towards them. A big final lesson for me in 2017 was to really look at success and significance. About a year and a half ago, I connected with Aaron Walker, who was a guest on our program. That's how I met him, and had the opportunity to actually join the mastermind group that he's a part of, that he leads, and to really explore and self-examine what success and significance currently looked like in my life and what I wanted it to look like. And I was able to be a part of this mastermind, this band of brothers, who help us with accountability and with meeting our upper limit challenges and really focusing on the balance of life and the success and significance in how we want to show up each day to our families, to our coworkers, and out in the world. Those are the big lessons that I had in 2017. There's a few more, but I'm so excited about what we're going to learn in 2018, and I'm glad that you're on this journey with me. Please email me at any time, Derek@theartistevolution.com. I'd love to hear from you, get your thoughts, hear about your journey, where you're at, what your goals are for 2018. Connect with me on LinkedIn as well, Derek Champagne, and I look forward to a great year with you guys, and we'll talk to you next week.
You've been listening to the Business Leadership Series, where we engage with leaders who are making an impact on their worlds and who want to share their knowledge and experience for your personal and professional growth. This interview was designed to inspire you to become the best leader you can be.